Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Sunday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at satellite imagery this morning, we see yesterday's storm system here across northern Wyoming heading east towards South Dakota and Nebraska. We do have some wraparound moisture from that system still lingering here across southeast Idaho. And then looking further north, we see the next storm system now approaching the western Canadian coast and yet a third system out here south of the Aleutian Chain. Looking at our regional radar loop early this morning, we see quite a bit of precipitation here across northern and central Wyoming associated with the center of the low. And we have some scattered to isolated showers lingering here across the eastern highlands. Early this morning, we're looking at wind speeds across Interstate 84 here down in south central Idaho with some pretty strong winds along the Interstate 84 corridor. That was as of 3 a.m. this morning. Numerical models were showing the winds tapering off between 6 and 9 a.m. this morning, so I'm not going to be issuing any highlights for that, but I do have a special weather statement out through 6 a.m. for that. Jumping ahead now to our forecast charts for this afternoon, we see that low pressure system now working off into South Dakota and Nebraska. We still have the storm track across the region with some moisture embedded in that. This is the 12-hour depiction of precipitation, so looking at some rather light accumulations continuing through the day today in the central mountains and eastern highlands, primarily along the Montana and Wyoming border. Looking upstream, we can see that disturbance that I pointed out earlier now working into the northwest here with the associated precipitation there. Our high temperatures that we are anticipating today, looking at 40s here in the Snake River Plain and 30s in the central mountains and southeast highlands. Advancing to our forecast charts for tonight, that disturbance now working into the northern Rockies with a fairly healthy precipitation signature here across the Idaho Panhandle and a reflection of that extending down into the eastern highlands here where we're looking at accumulations of generally 1 to 4 inches here across the eastern highlands and about 1 to 2 inches up in the Stanley Basin with less than an inch of any type of accumulation down here in the Snake River Plain. Skipping ahead to Monday on our forecast charts now, the ridge off the California coast here begins to expand a little further north and east, driving the storm track now just north of us. We will see embedded systems in this flow, triggering some isolated showers along the Montana and Idaho border, but relatively dry across most of southeast Idaho. Advancing to Tuesday, we see one such disturbance now working down through the flow here, so it's triggering some heightened shower activity here along the Montana border and the Idaho Panhandle, and then some accumulations up here near Island Park. Looks like it may be our warmest day on Tuesday, with daytime highs running up in the 50s, maybe even to 60 here in the Snake River Plain, and upper 40s and 50s in the central mountains and southeast highlands. That disturbance pushing east here on Wednesday, the ridge beginning to amplify off the coast ahead of another low pressure system just off to the east here. So it looks like we'll stay relatively dry. Obviously some showers being indicated by the model here along the Wyoming-Montana borders. And then drying as we work our way into Thursday as that ridge begins to push into the area ahead of that low-pressure trough. And here we are on Friday, that low now diving into British Columbia and then on into the northern Rockies here on Saturday. So we should begin to see an uptick in precipitation potential as we get into the weekend, and more than likely some cooler temperatures accompanying that. That's all I had here this morning. If you had any comments or questions, please give us a call here at the number on the screen. Thank you.